So what is spot rate? So let's draw a example for you. Okay. So for example, A and B, and A want to borrow $100 from B, right? And B say, yeah, it's okay. I borrow this amount of money to you, but you need to return in 1 year. Okay, so A said, well, no problem, and B thinks about it and say, well, what do I gain from this transaction? I have to gain something. Okay, you can't just borrow $100 and in 1 year they just pay back me $100, and that's just don't add up. Okay, so B said that you're gonna pay more. Okay, if I lend you $100, you need to pay more back in the future. But A said that I don't have that amount of money to pay you, so maybe you just give me less, but I will pay you in full amount of $100 in 1 year. B said, well, it's okay. So B just hand out $90 to A, but in 1 year, A will pay B back $100. So B never give A $100. B just give A $90, and in 1 year, A will pay B back $100. So yeah, let's analyze that transaction. Okay, so essentially, B invest in certain amounts of investment, and that amount is $90, right? And in 1 year, B will receive $100. Okay, so if you calculate the investment return, you can get a certain amount. Okay, so let me just use Excel to quickly show you guys. Okay, so for example, this year is 2022. I think it's already 2023, so maybe 2024, right? And you invest, so B is kind of investment, so $90, but in 1 year he will receive this amount, $100. So the return, pretty simple. You just use this and divide it by this. Okay, and of course you can use this, subtract 1, and get this 11.11 approximately percent of return. Okay, so this can be treated as a investment return. And let's change that, because this goes in both ways. So let's look at A. So from A's perspective, A is issuing a bond because A wants to borrow money from B. Okay, so A is issuing a bond that have a face value of $100 bond, and remember that is the face value. Okay, and this bond is pretty interesting because you can never pay interest, you can never pay coupon. So during this 1 year period, this bond never need to pay any any kind of payment. They don't need to pay. Okay, and in 1 year, A will pay $100 to whatever the bondholder is. Okay, so in this case, B hold that kind of bond, and A need to pay $100 in 1 year. All right? And because A issue bonds at time 0, time now, they kind of need to get that amount of money because they issue bond, they need to get money. Okay, so what amount of money did A get at that certain issuing date? Ironically, even though the face value of the bond is $100, A did not get $100 amount of money, but rather A just get $19 of money because B buy that bond, but B only paid $19, and that amount of money go to A. So it kind of goes both way. B buy a certain amount of bond, B enter into a kind of an investment. B pay $19 at time 0, and B receive $100 in 1 year. And at the perspective of A issue a face value of $100 a bond at time 0, but only get the $19 of money that B invested. But in 1 year, A will pay back that face value of $100 to the bondholder, and the bondholder, is B. So A need to pay B back $100. So that is the transaction. So if you already know this transaction, you already know how to calculate the spot rate. Okay, so say that bond, that's 100. Let me use a different color. Say that $100 face value amount of bonds was issued at time 0 and was paid at time 1, which is 1 year. Okay, so that amount divided by the discount factor. Of course, I can generalize it, but for now it's just 1 year. And once you divide that, you can get $19, and that is the amount of money that you need to buy that bond, the fair value of that bond. Okay, so this S can be interpreted as the investment return, the percentage, 11.11 approximately. If you calculate that, it's 11.11, approximately amounts of investment return, and that is the spot rate right now. Okay, right? So essentially, if you memorize this kind of a transaction, you know exactly what spot rate is, because we're dealing with a pretty interesting and especially interesting bond, is that there is no coupon to be paid. So so the price changes, the fair value of that bond and the face value, the final payout of that bond, the difference of that is is affected at the spot rate, and that spot rate can also be interpreted as the yield to maturity. Because you only pay $90 for that bond, but you receive $100. So you also can treat the yield to maturity as a investment return. Or sort of a rate of your return. Okay? If all that makes sense, you can even simplify it by using $1. So if you use $1 as a par value and 0 coupon bond, that is special bond, as a the final payment, and you divide it by that certain amount of a spot rate, so time 0 to time t, and this time t can be multi-period. Okay, so maybe 1, 2, 3, and all the way up to t. And you can discount that multiple times. So in this case, t times. And you will get a certain d t. Okay? We call that d discount factor. Right? And this is the spot rate. So this is more generalized spot rate formula that incorporate the discount factor. Okay?